This feels like buying Bitcoin at $1,000 and I'm not even exaggerating. This is not a clickbait. I just really believe there's a very bullish case to be made for Ordinals. Let me start by just saying that I already have quite a lot of exposure to Ordinals, but I believe that this is just the beginning. However, this video is not telling you to ape in right now into Ordinals. I'm just gonna give you a blueprint and you need to sit down and start studying all the things that we're gonna discuss here so that you can later on potentially extract value from this ecosystem. So what exactly are Ordinals? There are some great explanations on the internet already. However, I just want to give you the basics that you really need. In the beginning of 2023, developers found a way to inscribe individual satoshis, and this is just a really small part of a Bitcoin. And you can inscribe on this satoshi whatever you want. So it could be a JPEG. We all love our JPEGs. It could be also a text, and this text could turn into a token, which are the so-called BRC20s. But also it could be all kinds of other things. There are even programs and all kinds of libraries of code that are currently inscribed on the Bitcoin blockchain, and you can run programs. We don't know what kind of development this will take, and we're this early, nobody knows how exactly the whole ordinal space will develop, and there are a lot of people experimenting on it with all kinds of concepts, and pretty much it feels like the beginning of Ethereum. If you were back then into crypto, and if you remember what DeFi meant for Ethereum and for the extraction of value, and then also what happened with NFTs on Ethereum, this is all happening on Bitcoin, and you all know that this is the mother chain, this is the god of all crypto, and finding ways to extract additional value and not just store value on the Bitcoin blockchain, this is, in my opinion, a game changer and could totally reshape the crypto industry in the future. So now I just want to give you some of the tools that you need and some of the things that you need to get great at in order to understand the space and start getting into it and potentially extracting value from it, as we are so early. First of all the resources that you see here on the screen will be also down there in the description. So don't worry, but this is a website called CryptoSlam, and it's very useful to see data about NFTs specifically. And as you can see, this is just today on a random day. We have pretty much a Bitcoin takeover with Bitcoin making around $40 million in sales in the last 24 hours compared to Ethereum with less than $8 million. And you can see here the top collections. In this case, these are all BRC20 tokens, but also sometimes you have like Van Gogh. This is a collection. Bitcoin Frogs is one of the most popular collections that we're going to talk about. And then here is on number 19 is the Bored Ape Yacht Club. This is not always the case, obviously, but if you needed another case to be bullish, this is it. And before we go into Bitcoin, I want to show you Ethereum. And that's why I really like this website, because you can go in history and you can check the volume in the past period, and even from the beginning of NFTs. And this is Ethereum NFTs, and you can see here very important graph, and I want you to remember it because we're gonna look into the graph of Bitcoin also. But as you can see here, in the beginning it was flat, pretty much nobody, and then suddenly we had a little spike, then this went flat again, and then we had another spike, then another correction, and then we had a couple of more spikes here on the way. And this is pretty much where in 2022 we had the massive NFT bull run, even after this first spike. And you can see here that on the first spike, and in general, the unique buyers and sellers were between 20 to 30,000, I would say, and the volumes were up to like $200-300 million, and that's per day. And currently Bitcoin is looking like this. So if you go all time, this is very new, so keep in mind we don't have that much history. So from the beginning of 2023 we already had one spike, and this is pretty much in the beginning of Ordinals, and a lot of people made a lot of money here because all the projects were free mints. It cost like $1 or so to mint, like super cheap stuff, and things started popping here, and we had days of around $20 million in sales. And then in May we had another push. This is somewhere where I joined Ordinals. I didn't get the best entries, but then I averaged down here also into this big accumulation phase. And currently you can see in November we're having another spike which is bigger than the previous ones. And this is exactly how the NFTs on Ethereum were looking in the very beginning. And I believe after this pushes up, probably we'll have another major correction, and then probably coinciding with the bull market in crypto overall, we'll have a craze about Ordinals. We'll see how good this video ages, but I believe this is the moment to start paying attention, because right here it wasn't exactly clear that Bitcoin Ordinals will survive, but here I think this is just a confirmation. And that's why I said in the beginning, it's not necessary that you start buying right now, but you need to start paying attention. And another dashboard that I wanted to show you is this, created by Domo. And you can see here the volume by marketplace. And in the beginning, the main volume was on Ordinals wallet. Then Magic Eden started pumping like crazy on volume. And suddenly we also have OKX, which is pretty much an Asian exchange. And you can see the volumes that this thing is pulling right now. It's been going crazy. And you can track here, if you get spikes on volumes and on transactions. So this is volume on the left, and here is the transactions per day. So just keep this in mind. I check this every week or so just to see where we are. And you can see here that unique users, after flattening out, after the first initial push, we had a flat, and now we are pushing back again. And these are a lot of users from the Asian market, which I believe is huge, and it's going to give us another massive push to the upside. So now you might be asking yourself, okay, Z, I'm bullish on this already, how do I start learning? And I think there are a couple of places that you definitely need to start with, and the first one is obviously Twitter. Pretty much everything on Ordinals is happening here, and also on Discord, which we're going to talk about next. I've done a list. You can update it yourself, you can remove, add people, but I will link this below. You have around 85 members, which I believe will give you a good start into the Ordinal space. And just go through tweets, just read stuff. For example, the Bitmat guy is big. Frog Toshi, the creator of Bitcoin Frogs, also very important person in the space. BitGoat is another one. And then we have the Ordinals Show, a great podcast. They do a great job. OMB is one of the biggest collections, I believe, in Ordinals. And, there's a lot of things here that can get you started and that you need to go through. And pretty much what I've done and what everyone should be doing is that you need to go on Twitter and just scroll through this day in and day out, and just look for the alpha, look for all the information that you can get. Because right now, I don't think the meta of Ordinals in general is new mints and mint this or mint that. We're, I think, way past this. It's more like what kind of real developments we're gonna have in the space that will be game changers. And one of the people that you definitely need to follow, but I think this is best done in Discord, is the Track Protocol in general, and Benny, the developer, who is, in my opinion, probably like the GOAT of this space. He has been building, specifically Track is his project. This is like the chain link for Ordinals, so he's helping to index the entire space. So pretty much you'll be able to keep track because of the things that he's doing of different tokens, collections, all of this. And he's laying the foundations for potentially something that could become like a DeFi on Bitcoin. And he's developing all kinds of tokens and functionalities. I cannot get into them right now, but luckily for you, he has a very, very good and very active Discord on Track. And this is actually insane because, first of all, he's very active, and also there are a lot of people that are very active. And just right now, as we're speaking, they posted a new channel which is called Education, and as you can see here, people are already starting to post a bunch of stuff with useful information on the space. And you can go through all of this, and you should go all through this. And let me give you an example why. They have the so-called Pi Protocol right now, which is a big thing within this track. And everybody thinks that this might be one of the things that brings Ordinals to another level. But just a really small example from a week or two ago, Benny launched a token, which is a meme token, and it was called GIP. And it was a free mint, and it minted out at some point. After several months of minting, nobody was caring, but at some point it caught fire as the Ordinal space was gaining traction. And I personally minted for like $200, like 500k of those tokens. and they're going now for around 2 cents, if I remember, 2 or 3 cents, and it's around 10 to 15k just from pressing 1 or 2 buttons mint, and that's it. And this is all information that I got from this Discord, and I believe that's just the beginning. People already made thousands of dollars just by trading these little tokens here that you don't see anywhere else on any other exchange. And that's why I'm saying it's a super crucial thing to stay on Discord, and especially on the Track Discord. A few other Discords that worth mentioning is Runix. This is a platform that currently is planning an airdrop. They're trying to be like one of the first exchange platforms, so you can pretty much buy and sell different tokens in here. Tap Exchange is another one that you need to be looking into, and then all the projects that you like, especially for example Bitcoin Frogs. If you have the money, maybe not now because it's not the best time to invest in frogs since they're going parabolic. And there's some channels like the Alpha Shield here where people share a lot of alpha, and this happens across all kinds of Discords. Another one is OMB, as I mentioned. Dodgepunk, I think, is also one of the OG collections and has pretty good information here on the Discord, and you can chat with people here, and people in the space are very open and very I would say helpful. And I think this is one of the things that makes me super bullish on the space, because we have a bunch of people here from the very beginning that are trying to provide value and not just only extract value from it. The last Discord that I wanted to mention here, and obviously you do your list and you need to spend a lot of time into Discords, is the Taproot Wizards. This is probably the most hyped project. It's one of the very first projects on the Ordinals ecosystem. They've been inscribed very early. They haven't launched yet though, and they've been hyping it up like crazy for already months. They just got a round of investment. They got like $7.5 million for a project that hasn't even launched. And if you just like, the art on this is not crazy, you know, it's I'm not gonna even hate on it, but it's weird, it's pretty bad. But yet they're doing much more than just the art. It's just a symbol, it's the community. It's giving me crazy good vibes. I don't know when this will launch and what the price would be, but potentially I would want to have a Taproot Wizard, because this could be a blue chip together with OMB, with the Bitcoin Frogs. Yeah, these are the collections that I'm definitely keeping an eye on. In order to start playing with the ecosystem, you need a wallet similar to MetaMask. I personally prefer Xverse, but also Unisat has a wallet, and there are all other wallets that are coming up on the Bitcoin network, so just keep this in mind. It's pretty straightforward. I'm not gonna go through how to install it and so on, but it allows you to see rare satoshis. It already has interface for the JPEGs and the tokens, but again, this is very new. For example, the tokens that are on tap, they don't read it. It's a completely different site that you need to go to, but once you dive into the Track ecosystem and the Tap protocol and the pipe and all the things that I mentioned earlier on the Discord discussion, you know what I mean, and you know the websites that you need to go in order to know what is in your wallet when it comes to stuff that is not exactly a BRC20. And talking of Unisat and their wallet, they also have a marketplace, and this is the biggest marketplace for BRC20s. You can see here also they have collections, and you can buy and sell the JPEGs too. However, if you go to marketplace and here on BRC, these are pretty much the main tokens that you can see and trade. And for example, if you go to Track, I think this is one of the better performers overall. It's currently at $3, and keep in mind this was at 10 cents at some point. And even at $3, the valuation here is, I think, less than $50 million. And if they deliver of what potentially we expect them to deliver, this could go nuts. You'll need some time to connect your wallet, to kind of get used to the interface. So just go on the website, play around. A few key things that I can give you as hints here. So first of all, they added here a feature which is kind of a charting feature, which we're going to discuss also later, other types of charts. But here you can see the Track price chart, and keep in mind these trade like NFTs on Unisat, but you keep them, you have the ownership over them, because you can go on centralized exchanges, but I don't think you can transfer in and out of the exchange just yet. But here you can see actual sales with the dots, similar to what you can see on NFTs, and you can do some charting here. You can see the volumes and so on. Also, you can go here on the orders and see if people are buying and selling actually, or they're just listing or unlisting stuff. So this is, I think, also very important. You can see your orders. You can also see on the track info how much has been minted, and you can see, you know, what's the supply, what was the limit per mint, and then other things like the total transactions, the total holders. In this case, 2,300 holders is quite significant, but for example, there are other tokens that have better, for example, if I remember OXBT, although this project crashed really hard, this is created by BitGoat. Here you can see that the total number of holders is above 15,000. So it doesn't mean it's good or bad, it's just, you know, numbers that you can play with, and this is with a supply of 200 million. Keep in mind that most of those BRC20s don't have that much utility. Potentially people will add utility to them. For example, Unisat is developing pretty much the first decentralized exchange to trade and exchange tokens between each other, because currently you can only buy these with Bitcoin, but potentially in the future they are in their alpha stage. You can buy this token sats with track and so on. You can pretty much do it in many different ways, and in this case they're also adding utility to the sats token, which is a BRC20. However, Unisat mentioned that they're going to be using sats as their gas token, so when they're doing transactions they will be using sats. And if you see this on the chart, after this was announced, this thing pretty much went parabolic. And I personally don't own any sat. I'm waiting for some kind of a correction. We'll see if this will come or not, but definitely this is a feature that you need to be keeping an eye on, because now currently there's a race to launch a real exchange where you can do different swaps and stuff like this, similar to DeFi on Ethereum. And let's see if the developers will pull this out. When it comes to charting, Gate.io is a centralized exchange, and it has all of the majors, I would say, BRC20s, and this is Ordi in this case. This is the first BRC20. It's the most popular as of right now, but again, it has absolutely no utility. And you can see the chart and the full price history since it's launched. I did buy some Ordi. My cost average was around, I don't know, 7, 8 bucks, and I sold it at around 11 bucks because Binance was listing them, and I was like, okay, if Binance is listing, this is a Binance exchange pump, and then usually drops, and I was thinking that I'm gonna buy it lower, but it just went parabolic and doubled and tripled from pretty much where I sold all of it. And that's why I'm keeping most of my rest of the BRCs, because I think they're just so small currently that you know, and there's some new ones that I don't even really know yet. This Rats one, I think this launched recently. Again, I need to research this, and that's why I'm saying the space is developing so fast and so many things are happening that you need to be keeping a track of many different things, and maybe even pick your poison. Will it be JPEGs or tokens? You know, there are many different things. When it comes to JPEGs, it's a little bit harder to have such kind of graphs where you can make more analysis, but I have a friend who's a developer, and he made this website. I'm going to link it below, and you can see here graphs for some of the main collections, like for example Bitcoin whales. If you click here, you'll be able to see the price action pretty much since he started recording it, and you can go on the daily chart, on the 12-hour chart, and so on, zoom in and out, similar to what TradingView can offer. And then you can do some better chart analysis, I would say. And you can see here that we had a period of accumulation in this area right here, then we had a first initial pop correction, and then now we're going parabolic and we're consolidating. And in my opinion, this is just a higher low, and potentially from here we could go even further up. Bitcoin whales is one of the cheapest collections that I believe have good potential. I do have a back of them, but I'm hesitant to start selling just because of the price action here. It doesn't signal like we're topping out. And you can do this analysis obviously for a bunch of collections. Another useful site is called Ordinals Hub. Also has some data for many collections with the volume and some graphs here. It's lagging, so keep this in mind. It's like 4 or 5 days older, and you can get the sales and so on. But pretty much the charting you can do also on the exchanges, and the exchanges that you need to know about are currently Magic Eden. I still think this is the leader when it comes to interface and everything. And then OKX, you can see this one. There are some benefits actually to OKX compared to Magic Eden. And here you can see again the collection, the activity, and you can have a tab of analytics here that gives you again some more information about the collection and how it's been behaving. And you can see frogs are pretty much going parabolic, but this doesn't have the history before this because for example, if you go here, you can see here the history from the beginning. So that's why I'm saying it's not perfect and you need to go back and forth between different websites. But when it comes to collections that I personally own and I'm interested in, Bitcoin frogs definitely. I do have some Bitcoin bear cubs. I have whales, as I mentioned. I have one OMB. Seize Control is another one that I own. Doge Punks, I have a bunch of them, and some others. And I'm definitely monitoring here always the trending ones. These are the top collections for the 30 days. And you can see here that Frogs is on top, followed by Bitmap. And we didn't even have the time to discuss Bitmap. It's a whole new thing. It's like the metaverse on Bitcoin. So again, another thing that you need to dive into. But these were pretty much free to mint for $1. I minted some, but not enough by the looks of it. Now they're going for like 40-50 bucks a piece. So this place is really going crazy, but as I said, you need to do your research, and if we keep talking about this, the video is going to be like at least 20 hours long, and I'm planning to make a lot more content on the subject. So just let me know, guys, if you enjoyed this and if you want to learn more about Ordinals, because there are a lot of other things that I can be sharing with you, and I would love to do this and to help everybody get onboarded into the space, because I think as I said, it's an opportunity of a lifetime, definitely. That's everything for this video, guys, and if you have any questions, you know how to find me.